Indiana season tickets were on sale, Brad, and then they sold out. It's Indiana Hoosiers Live 70 presented by FanDuel. God, I was so excited to start with basketball.
I was too, because I thought it was going to be good news. I feel like, you played the intro song, and I was like, man, this music should be a little more doom and gloom, I feel like, right now, for what's going on. If we weren't a football school before, I think it's safe to say it's full on a football school. Now the narrative is, how do we become an everything school? How do we get basketball back to traditional standards? But even then, like, it's not even at a point where it's like traditional standards and expectations are the problem. It's they're not close. I'm gonna lay out some facts for you. They've lost to Northwestern 6 straight. 4 of those at home. This year, they are against Ken Palm top 90 teams, 4-11. Now I skewed that a little bit. Could be 6-11 if we do top 100. Does that sound like a basketball school to you? Does that scream a program that's close? Now, yes, first year head coach. Yes, completely overhauled the roster, 13 new scholarship spots. Yes, we can put all these excuses out, and yeah, poor roster construction for sure. But that's what it is. It was poor roster construction. I think there's arguments to be made, and I was defending this early on too, and I'm starting to think, maybe I was wrong potentially. I don't know. I'm trying my best not to overreact.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
The team plays well. They're just not good. I know with better players, this Indiana could be back. It's a Jimmy's and Joe's sport. Are we gonna get good players? Is that gonna happen? That's kind of where I think where my head's going after a loss like this, to where is Indiana even still a destination spot for guys? Yes, they'll have the lore, and reel me in, please.
Well, yeah, I think Indiana fans are feeling or at least in the immediate, like where our feet are right now, it is very doom and gloom. I think you're right. I think the intro music, while like and we'll get to football, right? Like, really exciting day for Indiana football and the future of Indiana football. But when you're talking about the present of Indiana basketball, this could not be a more frustrating day. That being said, and I'm going to split these two conversations because I'm not going to act like I didn't sit here with a scowl on my face for the last 10 minutes, like refusing to set up the podcast link and like be upset, borderline embarrassed about the way the team played, especially after the coach emails the entire student body and is basically like, pack this place, we need you guys. And to play like that is frustrating is the right way to put it. Maybe it's not a strong enough word, but as an instant reaction, I'm not sure there's another way to feel. The other thing that happened today in the Indiana basketball world is they went out and they hired Ryan Carr, a really significant hire. It gained universal praise from across the basketball world. He was, I believe, the assistant GM for the Pacers, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was handling a lot of their draft prep and a lot of their scout stuff. Like I said, universal praise across the basketball world from draft guys. They went and got somebody who specializes in both scouting and roster building, and the stuff that was coming out today about On3 with quotes from college coaches are like, if you wait for the transfer portal to open in April, like it's almost too late. And I know you were joking when you were talking about Dusty May and like when he was playing these guys last year, like dropping subtle hints. But like you're right, like you have to play the game a little bit ahead of what the rules even allow you to do. And so the current standing of Indiana basketball, holy hell, what a frustrating second half of that basketball game. Especially the fans were excited. The Burner Army got hashtag Burner Balcony trending to number 6 in the, like, not just in like people's like whatever like For You trends, like in the country. Like there was like, people who were excited about this basketball game to come out and play like that. Unbelievably frustrating. But to add somebody like Ryan Carr to your staff, to take him from 10 years ago that guy's going to be a GM in the NBA this offseason, and now he's going to be running basically basketball ops for Indiana. So if you are somebody who, and we've repeatedly, like, I'm trying to find the silver linings, right? Because I'm not what you're not going to find me doing is defending the way the team played today in the second half. But as a whole across this season, they've played a really fun brand of basketball. If you're talking about it being a Jimmy's and Joe's sport and getting the right guys in here to run the system, they brought a guy in here who's highly capable of doing just that. So, not the Indiana basketball conversation I thought we were going to be leading into this show with, but yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. Brad, is like immediate, like, yeah, it's. I don't know what you want me to say about that performance, but in the long term, this program is going to be fine. Yes, we're going to get good players, and they're making moves to ensure that. Like, Ryan Carr is not just some guy they brought in off the street and like we'll hope he's good at his job. Like, universal praise
Home run
across
hire,
the landscape.
for sure. Home run hire for sure. Definitely a step in the right direction. Probably the best move DeVries has made as a GM, obviously. Through like an initial thoughts type lens, like definitely the biggest splash move he's done. Probably that, and then Lamar Wilkerson signing, probably the two biggest moves he's made since taking the job. Lots of reasons to be concerned. Like, I think for me, like watching them, I think it's the first time in like 10 years where we've seen, a true college system being run. And like, I think maybe I gave DeVries too much credit for, and I'm not trying to say he's bad or good right now. Like, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I think it's still just more time to evaluate, which is, it's getting old saying that stuff, right? Like, give it some time.
That's the frustrating part, is like,
Yeah.
you bring in a team of transfer seniors and you load the thing up and you're like, our biggest strength is we're going to be able to shoot threes, and regardless of size, we're going to play fearless defense. And their Achilles heel all year has been they go cold in the second half around the 12-minute mark and they can't get a stop. And it's the exact like, it's every issue that people had with this roster going into the season has been, what was, first of all, immediately justified by the size. But then second of all, like, even the strengths of this roster and the people who are trying to cling to, like, okay, we'll be able to shoot and we'll be able to move the basketball and at least it'll have like the crowd popping and things like that. Like, and I don't know. I was having this thought as I was watching these basketball games, is like, I watch a lot of Indiana, obviously. Like, I try and watch all the Hoosier games, and especially when the football season ends. But like, I don't watch a ton of like other college basketball. So when these teams come and they play Indiana, it's like, oh my God, like the perimeter defense of these schools is ridiculous. It's like, is that the case, or do I just need to watch more college basketball? Because then you watch these high level programs play, like Houston and like Kansas and like Duke
Watch the
and
Michigan
Michigan's
game
and
and
like
Illinois game.
the
You know what I mean by Jimmy's and
and
Joe's.
Illinois and like Purdue the other night is just like, how the hell did we beat that team? And it's like, it's if you were skeptical about the DeVries hire, like, this isn't helping. But like I said, I as somebody who did believe in the hire and who believes in the direction of the program, and especially like the signaling of going out and getting a guy like Ryan Carr, obviously, like, that's not what you want to lean on coming out of this basketball game. You want to be talking about the crowd and the way they played and the like the way Lamar started the game. Like, you're looking like he could be going for 40 or 50 in a frustrating is the word.
Yeah, I'm disappointed for the kids. They're all seniors. A lot of these guys playing their last year of college basketball, likely to miss the tournament. They're on the bubble, suffered their second bad loss of the year, which isn't great considering they only have two.
This was the first quad 3 loss.
Yeah, not great. Doesn't really put them in a position to be successful. Now they can turn around. There's still 3 games on the schedule that they can leverage to turn around, as we know, and as everyone should know by now, unless you're living under a rock. The tournament really doesn't do you any good unless you win the whole thing. And none of those wins really count toward your resume, and you just have to win.
Well, even then, Michigan, what year was it where Michigan won the Big Ten tournament and was a 5 seed?
It was last year.
It's like literally last year.
And I was telling you that before it happened. We already knew all this stuff, and none of it ever surprises me. There's a lot of reasons to be hopeful. It's a true college system. They run sets, I think it's been restricted. Like we saw more complex sets early on when we had a personnel advantage. Then we kind of just shift toward this feed Dorn, feed Wilkerson, feed DeVries, get them out and get them open threes. Less cutting to the basket, less open looks around the basket. So that's a reason to be concerned, is that the fact that, it seemed like we got constricted. Maybe that's a personnel issue. Maybe it's a DeVries issue. We need more time to kind of see. We need a larger sample size, and we need a new roster to kind of evaluate. And it's hard to tell until we invest the money again into this guy. We just need to put money into it. I think what's concerning is that I think there were a lot of reports out there where it's like we're one of a few teams to spend over $10 million on a roster, which I don't think is true. I think we spent some of the most out of the portal this year because we had to complete a roster, and I think that's what that article was saying. I read it a little bit as I was watching the game. It wasn't necessarily about the complete roster. I think, we have some pieces, as in just Dorn, got a couple good freshmen coming in, but like can't rely on freshmen really to kind of step in unless they're going lotto, right? Like unless they're all conference guys, you can't just bank on, and you can't bank on freshmen being all conference guys. You just can't. Just very frustrating. Lots of reasons to be concerned. The sets thing that I've mentioned, the lack of ability to go out and get a big man. Like if they don't do that this offseason, like what is there to even evaluate at this point? Like we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing all over again. I think another thing that concerns me is, DeVries' resume without Tucker on the roster. Yeah, he got West Virginia to a bubble spot, but he also had an NBA point guard. Like he had small. He's playing on the Grizzlies right now. Like he had, like we don't have a guy like that. Like Connor, and that's not a slight on Conway. Conway's actually been playing, kind of figuring it out. It's just like another weird silver lining amongst this like 2-game skid between Purdue and Northwestern. He's been the best player, surprisingly enough. And there's a lot of, it just seems like this team hasn't been able to gel, and that's kind of concerning. They haven't been able to find consistency. I think the second half skids have become a common theme now, especially after watching this game. Their inability to kind of hold leads. It's been, because they get off to hot starts. Most games they do, and they seem to let teams come back into it a lot. And I think there's a lot to be concerned about. There's also, enough to kind of be patient with and just understand that there's, I think these things take time. But here's the reality. Dusty May was able to get to the tournament his first year at Michigan, coming off a Michigan team that didn't make the tournament. And there's plenty of other examples like that. I hate to use Dusty May as the example, but that's just the first one that popped in my head. But there's other examples of that, right?
Well, I would think if you really want to, I think
yes,
I don't really want to add on to this. Hold on, Brad. I don't want to add on to this like cause for concern. But the other thing is, like you talked about his record without Tucker on the roster, but think about Tucker was the only player from West Virginia who was able to bring with him. Even guys that he had committed from high school, he wasn't able to bring with him. And so it's like, while you're trying to look at that and not call that a red flag, I don't. If you were trying to stack reasons to be concerned right now, I think that'd be another one that could come back up right now. Now, at the same time, like I don't fall in that boat, but I'm saying like it's these things start to resurface when you think about like what is possible in year one at a program. At the same time, like we went into this season talking about what the expectations of this team should be and what is realistic and where they need, like where they realistically are versus where they need to be. And yeah, I don't know. I do think it's more than fair to question some of these things.
Yeah, I did look it up. He has won a tournament game without Tucker. Happened in 2021. They beat Wichita State as an 11 seed, beat the 6 seed Wichita State that year. So I guess there's some sort of resemblance of success there, sustained success without Tucker. We don't even have a sample yet on it, and it's like it's just concerning. I think we just need to wait it out. Give this guy a Michigan roster and Illinois roster. Like, yeah, I think they'd be a top 4 seed. Like with Darien DeVries at the helm, like they just would. So I do think it's because he does run a college game. He comes from the Dana Altman tree. I think there's a lot of reasons to like D-Rock, but at the same time, it's like we need results and we need them fast, and it needs to happen next year. And that's kind of where it's at. If we're spending this much money on basketball and if we're going to continue to do it like that, results need to follow quickly. It's not, oh, it takes 3 years to because clearly it doesn't. You know, you look at Vanderbilt being in the top 15 this year. Plenty of other examples. Nebraska, Fred Hoiberg. Obviously, it's going to take some time, but like they went in the portal and they got Price Samford. They put the puzzle together and then they figured it out.
Hoiberg's not a really. Hoiberg's had 5 years.
True, but I mean, that's
what I'm saying. It's like I think it's more than fair to be frustrated, especially in the portal era. And when you look at like
there can only be one winner. That's another point.
People are gonna do the whole Dusty thing, and we're gonna like people are gonna do the Kurt Signetti thing. We're like, look what he did in 1 year and 2 years, and it's like, yeah, it's unbelievably frustrating. And it's I go back to like I remember having a conversation with our buddy Jackson Johnson, who runs the Alabama channel, and it's like try telling the Alabama football fans that they shouldn't win enough. It's right. It's like what? So it's I don't know. I don't. Frustrating is the right word because you're right with when you have the resources in the fan base and the amount of talent that it seems like Indiana has. Like you would like to be winning, especially against Northwestern, more than you are. You want to wrap basketball there? I think it's
yeah, I mean, it's not even like an expectations thing. Like I'm the first to say how, you know, this team hasn't really done anything relevant this century. Like they haven't. And you know, but it really just comes down to the now, and the now is this team does spend money on it, so results need to follow. And you know, if that means a tighter leash on DeVries, that means a tighter leash on DeVries. It just does. And I'm not saying he's good or bad. I'm saying I think I'm reining back my take that he's the guy. I'm not saying he is or isn't. That's it. I think that's my bow.
I think that's fair. All right.
Now he can come out and beat Michigan State next week and shut us all up. So, you know, we got 3 games. Here's the reality. If they beat Michigan State, they're right back in. And then they basically have to win out. If they win out, they're in. So figure it out. Michigan State's really fucking good, though. They got bigs. They're big. And they got Cohen Carr. They're the best rebounding team in the country, by the way, Michigan State. So, not a great matchup for us. But if they win out, they're in. All right, that's the bow. Okay.